With each passing chapter, the awakening of Pluton is getting nearer and nearer, and contrary to Momo's decision, it might actually awaken before we leave Wano, and I'd like to show you why. So first, let's look at this updated map of Wano we got last chapter. We learned the walls around Wano that the waterfalls are on weren't originally part of Wano, and were formed somewhere around 800 years ago, during the Void Century. Due to these walls, the rainwater naturally collected on the island and eventually completely submerged Wano from the past, filling all the way up to the peak of the walls until they can overflow over the walls as the waterfalls that we see outside of Wano. This led the citizens of Wano to migrate higher up Mount Fuji till they were at the same level as the walls and didn't have to worry about being flooded by the rainwater anymore. Sukiyaki, Oden's father, brings Robin and Law down past the basement all the way down to just above where Old Wano is. And this is where the Plutonglyph is. He said that it's the caves around the base of Mount Fuji, so it's not on the ground level, but it's a little bit higher into Mount Fuji in some cave areas I guess they used during the time 800 years ago. He goes on to tell them that even further down in the earth is where the Pluton rests. But before we get into my main part of the theory, I did want to bring something up. It's something that hasn't been answered yet, which happened a little bit after the raid started. When Marco was still on his way to Onagashima, he had a weird remark to Izo Nekomamushi. He said, and I quote, "So they're calling it Onagashima now. Interesting." This was always weird to me, and I always thought there was going to be some sort of explanation, but at this point we still haven't got one, so unless we get it soon, I don't know what that remark really meant. Because obviously he's saying they had a different name before, or at least they were calling it something different before. And most likely with Kaido taking over Wano, they started calling it Onagashima, but Oda has yet to mention its past name or why that was even important to bring up. But yeah, I just thought maybe somebody had a theory on it that might connect to mine in some way, because right now, Onagashima seems kind of unnatural as it's just some weird shoot off of Mount Fuji. So if you have any thoughts, let me know in the comment section down below. But anyways, let's continue. Sukiyaki tells them that he's never seen the ancient weapon and he's not able to show them now, because Wano's borders need to be open for the ancient weapon to be awakened. During his explanation, he gives the opening the borders of Wano a new context. He says for the ancient weapon to be retrieved, the walls must come down, letting loose all the water, covering Old Wano and destroying Wano's natural defenses. With this explanation, we see that opening the borders is a much more literal thing and not so much just allowing travel in and out of the country. Obviously that's part of it, but now we know the literal borders of Wano need to be taken down in order for the ancient weapon to be awakened and most likely in some way fulfill the prophecy of Joy Boy. After finding this out, Robin wonders why Oden would want to open the borders if that meant awakening an ancient weapon. But Sukiyaki just says all he knows is what has been passed down through the shogunate. And whatever Oden's reasoning for wanting to open up Wano and awaken the ancient weapon was something he found out on his journey with Roger. So it's not a question we'll get the answer to right now, but probably once we get to Laugh Tale. But with that being said, and now that we're all on the same page as to what happened in the explanation we got last chapter, I want to show you another map we got of Wano. This was Wano after both Kaido and Big Mom were defeated and sent plummeting through the earth into a magma pool below Wano. The first thing I want to point out is the depth at which they were sent through the earth. From this map that Oda shows us, we can see that Kaido and Big Mom both were sent even further below where Robin, Sukiyaki, and Law were, and even lower than the base part of Old Wano. Taking what we got earlier in the chapter, we can assume that they are somewhere near where Pluton is resting. So with this alone, you can assume that in some way, Kaido and Big Mom are going to affect how, why, and when the Pluton is awakened. Because I don't think them just going to that depths was just for no reason. Oda could have easily just had them defeated and still be on the normal surface that we're used to at this point. But he went out of his way to make them go into the earth even further than Old Wano. Now that is interesting on its own, but my biggest thing about this is something else. As we can see, the amount of power that was used to send Big Mom and Kaido through Wano has caused a lot of damage to the land itself. We can see that there's fractures all along the right side of Wano, specifically on the right side of Mount Fuji, the smaller peak where Onagashima was, and the right side of the wall. In fact, it looks like it might even break off. So with this new information that Pluton is below where Old Wano is, and that being the same place that Big Mom and Kaido were sent to when they were sent plummeting through the earth, and the fact that their impact damaged the walls that are supposed to be lowered for the ancient weapon to be awakened, it definitely seems like this is going to play some role in the awakening of Pluton, and will give Oda a reason to make it happen sooner than we expected. Now guys, assuming that's a ship, I don't know how they'll get it out, as breaking the walls now won't just make a ship pop out of the ground or wherever it's being stored or how it's being stored. We don't really know yet. But I definitely think this is a great possibility of happening, or at least playing some role in what happens into the awakening of Pluton, because this detail seems too specific to just be included for no reason, especially the cracking and Big Mom being sent below Old Wano. They definitely didn't need to go that deep, and they didn't need to go into the ground at all, so I don't think it's just some coincidence. I don't know how this plays into Big Mom and Kaido's future. Will they play some role in this, or is it just them being sent to the Earth? Maybe they're still dead or defeated or whatever, or maybe they have some active role in activating it now that they're down there. I'm not really sure. But I'm interested in hearing your guys' thoughts, so in the comment section down below, let me know what you guys think. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like. If you want to see more like this, please subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Well, with that being said, guys, later.